Language planning in multilingual contexts. Now, language planning in multilingual context is an important issue and it has far-reaching effects on the lives of the individuals on which this policy is imposed. How do you select an official language, for instance? You have this in front of you, some pragmatic concerns, that is, concerns that are related to the performing of different functions, that is, how practical would be the use of one language rather than the other. What will lead to more efficiency? What is easier to do? Nationalistic concerns. You want a language that somehow allows people to have that kind of symbolic value for them as a nation. So you have this Urdu, and remember that Urdu was the main symbol of Muslim identity when Pakistan was made, and this is how it was declared the national language, although we had these problems with its acceptance once Pakistan was made, and we will discuss it sometime later in the course. There are political concerns, like it relates to my earlier point that it is not just about how efficient things would be if a certain language is used instead of others. There are certain political concerns. What will be more politically correct? Then there are, of course, division of different languages in different functional domains. You want documentation to be done in hospitals, for instance, in the health sector. Which language should be used for the documentation? You have this judicial system. Which language should be used to document the judicial cases? Which languages should be used in the, for instance, in the police stations to register FIR? What languages should be used in education? These are all functional domains that your language policy has to contend with. So what we are saying over here is that when we are adopting a language as official language, it's not just about standardizing a language or setting up some institutions so that they can develop the language to be able to access the vocabulary that is needed for that language to perform certain functions. It is much more complex. And having said that, and coming back to the political point, it definitely reflects the power balance. So the official language somehow defines the elite. Remember, it more often than not, it is the language of the elite that is selected as the official language or as the national language, or it is the language that the elites identify themselves with. More often than not, in post-colonial context, the official language is the colonial language. Like we have English language. In Africa, they have English and French and Spanish in different parts. It is still the colonial language of the past. So why do we, when we become independent, why can't we simply shift to a different language? It is simply because of the reasons of efficiency, the records of the government, the work already that has been done is in that language. You have experienced people who are well versed in that language, who can carry on the work that is being done. So you don't want to change that. However, this becomes politically incorrect when nations become independent, because newly independent countries want to identify themselves as a separate nation. Even in countries which have never been colonized, the issue of official language remains. Which of the different ethnic languages that are being used should you declare as the official language? It leads to a lot of ethnic rivalry, and at times what they do is they bring in an exogenous language, a language which does not have native speakers, and they declare that to be the official language, so that the ethnic rivalry is addressed. So you have, for instance, to take an example of the post-colonial states, you have Ireland, which has Irish and English as official languages. This is also a solution. You have two official languages. And in Pakistan, we have this official and national language. We have been trying to address the issue, make Urdu the official language, but somehow the nationalistic concerns have been dealt with. This is because the issue of language policy is never just pragmatic, it is also symbolic.